It's the end of another year, so it's time for another ranking. Here is my countdown of Stephen King's collections. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. A couple of quick plugs before we get into this special. So, you can check out my range of Stephen King themed band shirts, like the newly designed the Tommyknockers Metallica crossover with some batteries. If you like Metallica and you've read the Tommyknockers, that makes sense. There's also an AC/DC one. As well as that, you can pick up my collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, which won a couple of awards this year and I'm very pleased about. And if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube, you can become a member of this channel. You can become a constant viewer and get access to a bunch of stuff, some fun emojis, some early access to regular videos, and most importantly, members only exclusive content. So right now there are specials on underrated short stories, Stephen King's best author photos, the top 10 supernatural kids in the world of Stephen King, and my choices for characters who deserved better. And I've got loads more planned for members as we go into 2025, so do check that out. Any of those things, the t-shirts, the collection, the membership, it's all in the description, so check it out if that sounds like something fun and if you want to treat yourself this festive season. So it's the end of the year, it's this month's book special, and I like to round off a year with a ranking. And as it happens, my friend and my editor Dee had a while ago suggested that I rank Stephen King's story collections. So those two things have merged beautifully, and we're going to do that in this special. So I've scrutinised my thoughts on Stephen King's 11 collections of either short stories or novellas, and I'm going to go through and rank them for you. It's going to be a spoiler-free ranking. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the books as a whole, and I'm going to pick out my favourite story in each one. And you know what's coming next? I'd love to hear your choices as well. So let me know your favourite Stephen King collection and your favourite story within that. And let me know your least favourite collection and your most favourite story in your least favourite collection. All clear? Clear as mud? Good. Let's get into this, shall we? Here is my personal ranking of Stephen King's 11 story collections, from least favourite to most favourite. So at the bottom of my list is 4 Past Midnight from 1990. Now this is a tricky point in King's journey to sobriety. There are 4 novellas in here and he's clearly trying hard, but honestly it's just a bit of a mess and it just goes a bit too weird sometimes. And kicking off with the Langoliers, which is like 300 odd pages, and calling it a novella, like it takes the wind out of your sails, honestly. And yeah, just not the best, really. As for my favourite story in this one, it would be The Sundog. But not because The Sundog's particularly good, it's just the best of a not very good bunch. So at 10, Nightmares and Dreamscapes from 1993. So a collection of short stories. I think there's about 24 stories in here. And King admits himself in the intro, this is him basically emptying out his drawers and his files and dumping it into one mishmash of a collection. And you can tell that when reading the collection. It is a real jumble in terms of quality of stories in here. But there are some great absolute gems in this. There's just a lot of filler as well. But it's still kind of fun overall. And my favourite story in this, not because it's particularly good, it's just always just tickled me and I just like it every time. It's Suffer the Little Children. Okay, on to number 9. And my choice is If It Bleeds from 2020, another collection of 4 novellas. Now, from this point onwards in my list, I'm pretty much entirely positive about all of these collections. So it comes down to finer details, I guess. So with this one, the title story for me is just a bit of a shrug. It kind of just rehashes The Outsider. Mr. Harrigan's Phone is a nice story, but feels like it's something he's been done before. Whereas Rat feels like a throwback to 70s short story King. And The Life of Chuck is just spectacular, and I cannot wait to see the movie of it that we're due to get in 2025. And my favourite story in this one is The Life of Chuck. So my number 8 pick is 2015's The Bazaar of Bad Dreams, another collection of short stories. This is one that gets knocked quite a bit by a lot of people, but I really like it. I think it's a really fascinating mix of some very mature writing, almost bordering on literary writing, and some nasty stuff and some weird stuff as well. Some cracking stories in here, and I've just always enjoyed dipping into this one. And I love the cover as well. Bonus point for it. My favourite in this one is Under the Weather. So my number 7 choice is Full Dark, No Stars from 2010, another collection of 4 novellas, and all of these are dark and nasty, and are not afraid to explore just to what extent, to what depths human beings sometimes have to go. And all of these stories are bangers and just kind of hook you in and leave you feeling like, yes, I enjoyed that story. And my favourite one in this, it's a tough decision because they're all pretty good, but my favourite is 1922. So at 6, it's Skeleton Crew from 1985, a great year for people being born. Now, this is possibly my hottest take on this list because I know this is a cult classic and this is a favourite collection of many. This is another collection of short stories. And there are some all-timer short stories in this book, like The Raft, The Jaunt, The Mist. You know, top tier stuff. But the problem is that a lot of the stories that sit alongside those absolute classics are not particularly good. So it does pull the overall ranking of the collection down somewhat. But undeniably still a hell of a lot of fun. As my favourite in this one, it's The Jaunt. So number 5 for me is Just After Sunset from 2009. Now, this is one that I often forget about. And that's wrong, because this is a really good collection of short stories. Some really interesting, fun ones in here. And it's nearly all set in Florida, which gives it a different flavour to our usual setting of Maine. So it does make it stand out a bit more and should make it more memorable. I don't know why this one just doesn't lodge itself in my brain. It never seems to, but I always love it when I go back to read stuff in here. And my favourite one in this one is totally gross, but I love it. It's A Very Tight Place. Okay, we're getting into the elite stuff now. At number 4 is You Like It Darker. His, at time of recording, newest book from 2024, another collection of short stories. And I was expecting this to be good, but I wasn't expecting this to be this excellent. I mean, genuinely, ask me this again in a year, and this might well have climbed up another spot. This was just a stunning piece of work, and underline to everyone that Stephen King is still an absolute master of the short form. There's so many good stories in here. My favourite, at least when I'm sitting here recording this now, is Rattlesnakes. Okay, number 3 is Night Shift from 1978, his first published collection of short stories. Now, this one is pretty fresh in my mind, having covered it not very long ago on my chronological reread. And I just had a great time going back to these stories. The writing, because this is like a collection of King's stories that he sent off to men's magazines and stuff, his writing is so tight, crisp and punchy. The stings in the tale are so excellent. And it remains a great starting point for King, either for someone who just wants to get to know King in general, or especially for people who want to dip into King's shorter works. Like, genuinely a great place to kick off your journey towards being a constant reader. As for my favourite story in this collection, it's One for the Road. So my number 2 pick is Everything's Eventual from 2002, and comfortably, when it comes to collections of short stories, comfortably my personal favourite. We get bits of everything here. We get scary, we get silly, we get historical, we get literary, we get weird, we even get some Dark Tower stories. There is truly something for every constant reader in this book. And I think there's 14 tales in this book, and I would rank 11 of them as being absolute top tier, and the other ones as all being pretty damn good as well. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of this collection. And my favourite in this is All That You Love Will Be Carried Away. But I also need to shout out 1408 because damn, that is a good, scary short story. Of course, that means that my number 1 pick when it comes to the collections is 1982's Different Seasons. I feel like I've said so much about this book across the last 4 years on this channel that I don't really know what else to add here. It's basically perfect. 4 novellas that just tick every single box. You've got the beautiful storytelling and hope and triumph of Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. You've got the absolute brutality of Apt Pupil. You've got the perfect story that is The Body. And then just the haunting spookiness of The Breathing Method. It's just flawless. And I absolutely love it. In terms of my favourite, I mean, right here, right now, it's The Body. But ask me again tomorrow, ask me again later today, ask me again in 5 minutes, and I could well pick any of the others. They're all that good. And there we go. Okay, that's my ranking of Stephen King's collections. As I said at the start, let me know yours. Let me know your favourite collection and your least favourite collection, but also let me know your favourite stories in those collections too. I'd love to hear what you think. And, well, that's just about it for this channel in 2024, at least, when it comes to the regular videos. Thank you so much for your support throughout this year. It's been a big year. Been doing the daily bits of trivia, opened up memberships, you can become a constant viewer now. So yeah, lots of fun stuff going on, and obviously done the t-shirts, I've released my own collection as well. You've been supporting me all year, I really do appreciate that. Thank you for constantly coming back, and I hope to see you all again in 2025. But enjoy the remaining few days of 2024, have a very happy new year, and I will see you for lots more Stephen King coverage very soon. Bye bye.